essential for women multivitamin 18 plus, but they also have a men's multivitamin 50 plus vitamins, prenatal vitamins, postnatal vitamins, and teen vitamins. Ritual does have a delivery subscription, so you can get these 9 key nutrients delivered to your door for only $1 a day every month. Better health doesn't happen overnight, and luckily Ritual is offering you all 10% off your first 3 months. So you can use my code OCEANS for 10% off your first 3 months using Ritual. All the information and links will be down below, so be sure to go check them out. Again, they're vegan friendly and their bottles are made from 100% recycled materials, and their vitamins have those 9 key nutrients your body needs, so be sure to check them out. Okay, so now let's get into the advice portion. Again, I'm not a professional, but I will try my best. So, Millie Robinson asks, how should I deal with my so-called best friend making sly comments about me constantly? For example, if I have one spot on my face, she points it out and laughs at me. It's ironic because she has acne, but I don't know how to respond because when she says the comment, I'm too struck dumb by how bitchy she is that I don't respond. Help me. I'm wheezing. Oh my gosh. Okay, Millie, you seem awesome. I Label. My mom took me to Shoppers Drug Mart, which is basically like Rexall, or I think in the US like CVS or something, you know, or UK Boots. And she went there and she was asking one of like beauty people what makeup I should buy. And Shoppers Drug Mart has like a high-end makeup, and then they have like your lower end like drugstore makeup, L'Oreal, Maybelline, that type of stuff. And my mom was asking these questions, and we were looking at Maybelline products and stuff like that. And I just, now thinking back, because back then I thought nothing of it, but thinking back, I think it's really adorable that my mom did that, because that's kind of something that you think most people would do at like Sephora, you know, asking about products and stuff like that. Because with the drugstore makeup, you usually can't test it. It's just in a package. It's just a few dollars, you know. So thinking back, I just think it was so wholesome and sweet. But yeah, so back then I wasn't cruelty-free or vegetarian or anything like that. So I bought a L'Oreal like concealer for my pimples, and that was the first ever makeup product I had. So for a beginner's makeup, I would say getting a concealer. I used to also use Essence. Essence is very cheap. It's only a few dollars, and their stuff is cruelty-free, and I think vegan. But their mascaras are really good. Essence mascaras. I used to love their eyeshadows and eyeliners. Their concealers they used to be good. I'm not too sure what kind of concealers they have now. I would also recommend CoverGirl. I really like CoverGirl concealers. Yeah, I'd say Essence and CoverGirl are good, like, starting out makeup. At least personally, that's what I would go for. How to confront a fake friend. Honestly, I mean, it's me. I feel like you guys don't know this about me, but I'm a very confrontational person. Like, I will fight, not like physically, but like I am not afraid to stand up for myself. So if it was me, I would just kind of go like head on and be like, look, like, what is your problem? There was actually a girl in my high school, in my gym class, who used to make fun of me. Like, she would stand behind me, and as I was in gym working out or doing whatever, she would stand behind me and be like, you know, like making fun of everything I did. And one time during class, I turned around and I was like, do you have an effing problem with me, or what is your issue? Like, can we talk about it as adults, or are you just gonna be a child? Like, let's grow up here. And she just started walking away from me, and I'm like, oh, so you're just gonna walk away? You're not even gonna talk about it? Like, come on, put on your big girl pants. And it was this whole fight. But that's just who I am. So if you're not very confrontational like that, I say just address it politely. Or if you're even too scared to do that, I would just say kind of avoid them. You know, if they're a fake friend, try and hang out with your real friends. But you could always address it in a nicer way than, you know, I probably would. You could just be like, hey, like, I find that some of the comments you make are rude, and I don't know, just kind of like backhanded. Like, what's that about? Like, is something going on? You could always just make it like that. Like, is something going on? Are you okay? Because you're my friend, and I feel like you might be projecting something onto me. Like, are you school and while it lasts type of thing. And starting periods. Starting periods, if you have cramps, I always recommend taking Midol. That really helped me with my cramps. I started off wearing pads. I used to use the U by Kotex ones, but they have reusable pads now, which is really cool. And they sell those at Rexall. Yeah, Midol for cramps. Get like a warm heating bag for cramps too. Chocolate does actually help, so try reason. And don't get me wrong, some of my friends are still getting A's and they're doing really good on their assignments, but majority of people aren't, you know, they're just staying afloat like me, or they're barely staying afloat. And that's okay too. School is supposed to challenge you, and you're supposed to learn, and it's supposed to be difficult so you can learn, so that when you get a real job and you have to learn things really quick and problem solve, you're able to, and you don't shut down. That is something that I have really learned the hard way, is learning not to shut down. In high school, I used to get a bad grade and I used to cry myself to sleep, and I used to just shut down on tests. I used to hand in a bad test with it covered in tears, and it was awful, and I used to just be done for like the week. Whereas now in university, I'm not saying that it's okay, but it's like, let's say I get a 65 on an assignment. Okay, you know, not the best. Let's read the feedback, let's see where I can improve. But at the end of the day, it's done. There's no point in dwelling on it. And if I make myself feel bad about that, I'm just gonna ruin my day, my week, whatever, when I could be focusing on the positives, like, hey, at least I still passed. Or even if I didn't pass, I read the feedback and it's like, you know, you did bad on this, this, and this, but hey, good job with your grammar. That's a positive. You know, I've been working on that. Like, you know, even if I did bad on the assignment, at least there's still a positive. I still got the 45. It's better than a 30. You know what I mean? So I think just trying to find those positives is really good, and learning that it's okay to not be the best at things, and that's totally normal. It's normal to not get straight A's. You know, everyone is good at different things. So just know that you're not alone, and it's okay. Alright, let's see. Elise what's up, you know, like it would be weird. And it's still good to have those friends for classes and things, but it's okay to not have a ton of them. Like, just have your close best friends or whatever, and that's all you really need. You don't need a ton of people, at least in my opinion. Some people need a ton of friends, but for me, I've never found that that's been beneficial. It's only made me feel cluttered. Okay, there's been a few questions about like weight and like loving your body and stuff like that, and again, I think that just ties back to like the self-confidence and stuff. I mean, as you guys probably know by now, I was bulimic for a few months in grade 7, and you know, a little bit too in grade 10, but yeah, like it's just really learning to like love yourself and have confidence and not compare yourself to other people, and just kind of finding what makes you feel that way. Like, why do I feel the need to control my weight? Like, what is deriving that, you know? And that can be really hard to do same in terms of what I do. Like, I wake up, I film, I do schoolwork, I go to bed, you know. But within that, it's still different because every day I film a new video, I have a new assignment, so I don't necessarily feel stuck in a rut. So I would just say try and find a hobby, and it doesn't even have to be anything that you show someone else. Like, I used to make YouTube videos without even posting them to YouTube. I used to just like talking to myself, and it would keep me busy. I used to love to do nail art. I wasn't very good at it, but I loved to do it. So I would just find those little things to incorporate. You could give yourself a little new morning routine. You could change up your skincare a little bit. Yeah, try and just incorporate new little things like that. I'm not sure how helpful that is, but I tried. Okay. Okay, so Sophia Salib asked, "Hi Ocean, my doctor told me that my period was coming soon and I wanted to know what to do if I was at school because I'm in person. I'm in 5th grade, so I don't really know what to do." Okay, I'm going to tell you guys a funny story, and this is what not to do. So, one of my friends in high school, she used to get her period, and it used to be a very heavy flow, and like it's so bad. So she used to be in science class with me, and she would bleed through her pad, through her underwear, and through her pants onto the chair. And she used to get up, and there would be a puddle of blood on the chair. And I remember there was one time I was sitting beside her, and I was like, "Girl, you left a puddle, like you left your mark on this chair." And obviously she was embarrassed, but I didn't call her out or anything, but I was like, you know. And so she wrapped her sweater around her pants, and she went to the washroom, and she tucked the chair in, and I was like, "You're not gonna clean it?" And she was like, no, like, we need to go. And I was like, "You can't just leave it there. Like, what if somebody just sits down or puts their bag there and now it's covered in period blood?" And she was like, "No, like, I'm too embarrassed." So don't do that. I mean, I wasn't gonna clean it up because that's not my blood. That is not mine. But if you do make a mess, I would just try and be subtle about it. Like, I don't know, if you have a friend, just be like, "Can you kind of cover the chair for a second while I go and grab paper towel?" And just kind of focus on trying to get like boys to like you and notice you. Because just be yourself. Like there's no point in like just trying to change who you are to try and get attention from boys. Like a boy who will actually like you will just like you for who you are, right? They'll just want to be with you for who you are. So if you want to be more outgoing though, I would say, try and talk to more people, join a couple more clubs at school, make more friends. You could ask if anyone's like doing anything on the weekend. I'm not too sure what COVID restrictions are, if schools are in person and stuff, but like I said, you could try and join clubs and be more social like that. Yeah, but if you really want boys' attention, like, I don't know, I just say be who you are. Like, if you want, you could try and ask a boy to be your partner at school or something. Like, I don't know. During high school, for me to get boys' attention, I used to just dress pretty and like of what made me feel pretty, like I used to love wearing high heels and purses and stuff like that, but that wasn't necessarily for boys, that was for myself, because that's how I love to dress. I love to dress very girly and like pretty and whatever, but that definitely caught boys' attention because they were like, who the heck is the girl walking down the hall in these loud ass high heels? It was me. So, but that was just me being myself, and I got boys' attention like that. It wasn't necessarily good attention sometimes, but it was attention. So, yeah, just be yourself, and I wouldn't focus on that too much, because you'd never want to change who you are to get attention of a boy, because they ain't worth it. Some of them might be, but spending your time like that, I feel like it's just not worth it. Just stay true to who you are, because you're amazing and you're beautiful and you don't need change. But yeah, I think I answered a lot of questions. I feel like I've been talking a lot. This video is an hour, so I hope some of what I said was helpful. Like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm just a teen girl who has been through a lot, so hopefully that helped a little bit. I definitely have had my fair share of toxic relationships and stuff like that, but I feel like those are really long talks, and I'll save those for another video. But yeah, again, hopefully some of what I said was helpful, and if any of you guys have your own tips, please leave them in the comments for other people. But yeah, I love you all so much, and I'll see you